Hey guys, welcome back to Holistic Homesteading with the Hursts. I'm Megan, and today I'm going to give you the tour that I have been promising you guys for at least a month. So let's do it. Okay, so when you first walk out our door from the back, we are met with, I guess would be our zone 1 for our, what's it called, permaculture place. So we don't really utilize this a lot yet because it was so overrun with brush and just thick trees. We've had some of them cleared out, but we still have some more to go. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you guys what that looks like. Okay, so right here is just the view from the side of our porch. This is how we get down our steps. And you can see these pine trees have orange X's on them, which means they are being cut down. So basically any pine tree in this area is getting cut. And what we're going to do is use the lumber that we get milled from it to hopefully build our addition. So if you didn't know, I am expecting our 4th baby, and we live in a 1-bedroom cabin. My husband and I sleep in the living area with our king-size bed, and then all 3 kids sleep in their bedroom, or at least they're supposed to, right? Right? So we really do need to add on to our cabin in the future. So I'm due with this baby in October of 2023, which is this year, and I hope to start building in 2024. So we are going to be contacting some builders and having these trees cut for the lumber. So I think that's pretty cool that we can not just cut down the trees and do nothing with them, but have them milled for lumber for our addition. So that's what we're going to work on in this area. And then we are interplanting grass or throwing out grass seed as we go so that we can eventually fence this off and have some ruminant animals as well. So as you can see, we have been burning up there. Brian and I have been just slowly going through and cutting down the smaller trees he's been cutting, and I'm helping like pull out the branches, and we're just burning all of that so that we can clear out space. I'm not sure how we're going to do it 100% yet, but I'm going to sit you guys right here because my shoulder is burning. Okay, so I'm not sure how we're going to do it exactly yet, but I think we are going to, once these trees have been cut and cleared, we are going to go in there with a blade, cut down anything that has like a thicker branch, because there's a bunch of tree sprouts coming up in there. And so we're going to go in there with a blade, cut all those out, and then we're probably going to fence it off and put some pigs in there to help them, let them do their thing. They root, and they will root up a bunch of stuff, and then we'll sow seed after them, which is basically what we did in our field, and our field is looking absolutely great for ruminant animals. So that's our plan, and then we'll see how it goes from there. I'm not 100% sure when all of that will happen. The trees have to be cut first and milled, so we'll start there. To go down our steps. This is the area that I work a lot with because it keeps our animal feed, minerals. I'm growing some plants here. Well, I'm growing some German chamomile. I accidentally spilled my German chamomile into my tansy, and so that's what's growing over there. So I'm going to restart my tansy, I guess. And my lavender is just not doing well. So
what's lavender, Mommy?
Lavender is a flower.
Oh.
And there's our kitty cat, which I think she's pregnant. I've said that before, but I really think Sayla. I think she's pregnant, but I've said that before, so I don't know. Her belly is just super big. Alright, this is where we store our wood for our stove, our wood stove. And this is also where we keep our brooder for meat chicks or chicks for raising eggs, egg layers. And then over here we keep our feed for the goats. So I don't know how long this will stay what it is, but until we add on and figure out a better location for all of this. This is where we come. It's just right under our house at the bottom of our steps to keep all of our feed and stuff. Okay, and right outside that, we keep coming down the steps. We have so many steps here. This is our cute little landscaping that I've been working on. We have lemon balm here, hosta, I can't remember what that's called, azalea. There, right up above that is a hydrangea bush. Yes, I can't think. And then another hosta. So this is going to be hopefully like a cottage garden once I get everything planted. I have some irises I plan on transplanting down here. So hopefully all this goes well. Here's the front of our cabin. And I do plan on doing a cabin tour because it's changed so much on the inside, but the outside hasn't changed too much. We've just not been able to get to that part yet. Now over here, we just started working on this at the end of last year. And this is an area. Oh, the kids left their Cheeto bag out. That's nice. But this is where we're going to build our addition onto. And then right up there you can see where somehow my Sweet William flowers ended up there instead of in the landscaping that I just showed you guys. So this is the second year that they've bloomed and I absolutely love them. So I saved some seeds, but I didn't have anything grow, so they probably needed to be left out in the cold first to germinate. But over here, we don't have a whole lot of land over here. Most of our land is kind of skinny. It goes way back up behind our cabin, but it is still a nice little area. And we've been working on this. This was all grown up. So the kids and I came out here and got a bunch of sticks and pieces of wood that were too large. Cleared that out. This also had a bunch of bamboo. And as you can see right there, there's a cluster of bamboo still there. So we still need to work on that. But we really wanted to be able to get close to our creek and see it and hear it. And the bamboo was just disrupting that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Whoa, yeah. Is that not the coolest thing you've ever saw? I love it. But we absolutely love just being down here, listening to the creek, and the kids love playing in it. So just having all of this cleared off and being able to mow it is so helpful. We've still got a lot of work to do over here. We need to spread some grass seed. I don't think that we plan on keeping all of this grass, but we do want to make it to where some animals could come over here and feed if we needed to. So we live on 7 acres, and our goal when we were looking for a homestead was 5+ acres. And I remember thinking 5 is nice, but 20 would be great. And now that we have 7 and a lot of it is wooded, I'm realizing how much work and how much land 7 acres actually is. So right now we have a mama goat with 2 babies, and we have chickens and ducks, and we do not have enough animals to manage our land for us. So we're looking into adding some more animals, but I'm just trying to emphasize how much 7 acres actually is, and like you can do a lot on 7 acres or 5 acres really. So if you're looking for a homestead and you think the bigger the better, you may want to start smaller because it's a lot of upkeep and a lot of management. So the bigger you go, the more management you've got to do. Alright, let's turn you around. Okay, so this is just right in front of our cabin. I love sitting out on our porch and just looking. So across the creek is not our property, but nobody lives over there, so it's super peaceful. We never hardly ever see anybody over there except for some horse riders. Last year, my dad and my uncle came over with an excavator and helped or took all of these boulders that were found on our property. And the previous owner had all of these outlining the landscaping here. And it was just, for me, too bulky. Like, they're showpieces, not borders. So they took all of those and they dug out the creek and just laid these down to where you can just step down. And it is so nice because this area is where the kids spend the most time as long as the creek isn't flooded. And it's a great area where they can get like up to their chest in this area. And this is probably just below their knees. But it's just a safe little area for them to play and swim and just really enjoy it in the summer. So last summer, or the previous, last spring, the kids wanted to come down here a lot, and I would let them, but I couldn't get down here. I was really big, pregnant, and yeah, it was just too dangerous for me to climb down here. So I'm so thankful for these steps. Now I can just walk straight down to the creek and not have to fear of slipping and falling. So that's nice, especially this summer, as I'm going to be quite big in the summer versus the beginning of summer or the end of spring last year is when I was really big. So I'm going to be needing to get into this cool water. So I'm learning that homesteads are never clean. This is the freezer that we used to store our meat chickens in when we did our last processing, and it just hasn't been moved yet. It just sits there. So it wasn't working, so we just kind of used it like a cooler, put ice in it, and then put our chickens in there. But yeah, so we've just been mowing around it. One day we will get it put where it's supposed to go. So over here is just really close to our house. We have the kids' play area, and it's right next to the garden, so it's super convenient. They're allowed to stay here while I work in the garden. I can keep an eye on them. We just keep adding a little at a time. Like, they want a bigger sandbox, and I understand because they're getting bigger and the sand is diminishing, and it just needs to be a bigger place. But they have a mud kitchen now that my sister built. They're still right next to the creek. They like to get in and out down there and get some more water for their mud kitchen. And in the summer, this is a great place because we have all of these shade trees. Which this tree right here is actually a mulberry tree. So the beginning of summer, the kids and I will just come out here and pick mulberries straight from the branch, and they're so good. But it also provides a lot of shade for their little play area, so it's nice and cool.
Every time I spin her dad to see, she laughs.
Okay.
I go super fast and she just laughs.
Okay. So we do plan on building the kids a tree house here, and then hooking a zip line from this tree all the way down to that walnut tree down there. And I think they will just have a blast. We really just want our area for them to just be so much fun that they don't really want to go anywhere else. But I know that that's not going to be true. Like, they're going to want to do other things, but that's fine too. So over here, and then we'll get to the garden, I've planted some elderberry bushes. You can see here, I don't know if this one is alive or not, but this one definitely has some sprouts on it. So I need to come in here and put some mulch around it. But we have one that's native. It's over there somewhere. And since it was growing close to the creek, I figured these would do well next to the creek as well. So this is our garden area. This is our very first garden area, and I was doing the Back to Eden garden method. And the only problem I have with this is it's on a grade, and so everything seems to kind of wash down, especially when we have a heavy rain. So I'm kind of working on building the soil up And as you can see over there, we have railroad ties. So eventually I want to do that over here and just work on trying to make everything level. So kind of like raised beds, but still in the ground. Like there's nothing, I don't know if that makes sense. So we've got lots of cooler weather stuff growing here. Lettuce. These are peas, and we have lots of brassicas. I had an issue with my brassicas. I planted them back in February in the winter sowing method, and then I transplanted them out, and it just now seems like they're growing. So I planted these back in March by seed, and they have basically like passed up the other things. So I'm not really sure what happened, but anyways, everything's growing. I just hope that it doesn't get too hot too fast for things to actually produce. But I still got to go through here. These are my carrots. I need to go through here and thin those out. These beets need to be thinned out as well. So I've still got a lot of work to do in the garden, but it's coming along. This bed I don't have anything in. I planted garlic in November last year and wasn't sure if it was going to come up or not, but look at that, guys. It came up. How cool is that? So somebody said to cut back the middle thing to make sure that your bulbs get bigger. So that's what I did. I just kind of pinched it off, and they have like started shooting out side shoots. So I'm not sure if I did the right thing or if I still need to do it again. I'm not 100% sure, but we're growing something. Okay, we'll keep going. We have grapes here, and eventually this garden will be my perennial garden. So we've got blueberries and raspberries and herbs, and then I've got some pretty calla lilies that I just planted, but oh my gosh, they're so pretty. So pretty. But I also have some that I planted 2 years ago, and they're spreading. You can see the little sprouts coming up, so that's exciting. But my goal is I want a nice pretty archway entry here, and then we're going to cut down some cedar trees off of our property, like the smaller ones, and make like an old-fashioned fence to go all the way around the garden area. So I think that'll be so pretty. I'm just so excited. I love imagining things. This is our peach tree, and we've got lots of little peaches coming up on it. This is our compost area. I'm still struggling on making good compost. So I think the biggest part is I don't turn it enough. So I was hoping that I would be able to use this year, but as you can see, it's just not all the way broken down like it's supposed to be. So we need to turn it more, like once a week, and we're getting it like once a month. But we will be able to start another compost here, and there's all my seed starts just right behind the compost that I need to probably get in the ground. So I am in East Tennessee, I think zone 7, and our last frost date was April 19th. Now technically there could definitely be a late freeze, and there was one in May like 2 years ago. So I am going to wait until after Mother's Day to plant my tomatoes, but I think the other stuff I'm going to go ahead and plant them, and hopefully they do well. We'll see. Alright, so here we have some space, which I probably need to make like not as wide. I just want it wide enough for the mower to fit in here. So I think we're going to bring this garden bed out here. Maybe next year, not this year. But this is another garden bed. So what we did is spread manure. It was horse manure. It was not composted. So I understand that there's probably going to be a lot of weeds in it. But what Brian and I did was rake up all these leaves out of our woods up there and just topped it over to help mitigate some of the nitrogen, I guess. So, and then I'm just putting rows of topsoil for my actual planting. And then hopefully next year this will be good and fertile soil, and we'll just be able to use compost from our compost. So here, this one's gonna be a vegetable garden. Got it all mapped out. Hopefully it works out. And then over here, we did the same thing, except we didn't cover it with anything. So I came through here the other day and just kind of tilled it up with a mattock. And I'm going to kind of make little rows, mounds of rows for my flowers. And then I'm going to put plastic in the middle of them to keep the weeds from growing up. So all I'll have to do really is keep it weeded until my flowers grow big enough to shade out the weeds. We have our chicken coop area, or chicken run. We built this out of pallets, and I need to have it sealed so that it doesn't rot. But right now it's electric fence. So we just had a huge dump truck load of pine shavings dumped in here, and it was in dire need of it because it's super muddy. So Brian and the kids helped each other spread it the other day, and yeah, so they will poop in all of this and till it for us, and next year we should be able to use it compost and just to put on top of our garden beds. But I do plan on building a solid fence around it and using this netting fence for something else, because it doesn't last. We really need to put like a border up down here so that the shavings and all that stuff don't wash down, because it's on a grade as well. So we've got some work to do, but man, we've come such a long ways in just 3 years. So it's pretty exciting. So this is our field where we rotationally graze our goats right now. I'm getting ready to list, look at those babies. I'm getting ready to list the babies for sale. Once I sell the babies, I'm going to look for a female to keep her company, because goats do not do well by themselves. They need to be at least 2 of them. So I'm going to try to find her a female, because we don't want her getting pregnant again right now. With me being pregnant, I just couldn't handle that. With a newborn and another baby to take care of. So this field is going to hopefully house some cows in the near future. We've got to set up a good fence for it, and we need to mow it. It's a little too high for cows right now. So we've got a friend of ours coming to help us with the fencing and just kind of help us take care of the cows, because we've never dealt with that before, but basically they're supposed to be pretty self-sustainable. Okay, so our property goes back behind the barn. Now this tiny little house over here, it looks like a shed. The previous owners actually lived in it while they were building the cabin. It has no running water in it. It does have electricity. I think that they set up a camper, and they would do like their water stuff in the camper, and then they actually kept their bed and stuff in there. We had talked about like reinventing it into like an Airbnb, but oh my gosh, you guys, it would take a lot of work, and there are snake skins in there, and I'm terrified to go in there, so we will leave that alone. We've got to clean up all of this stuff that they left for us to clean up, pretty much. So we've got to get rid of all of that. We have a friend coming over to actually help us load all of that stuff and take to the dump. But yeah, here's a chicken tractor that we don't use anymore. Nesting boxes that we need to put in the coop. You know, there's always a list of 100 things to do. This is our barn. This was not meant for animals. It was actually used as a place to fix cars. So you can kind of see where they would, I don't know how they did that, but those wooden things, they would like raise the car up or hang it from something. I don't know. I don't know what they did with that. Maybe motors or something. I don't know. So anyways, Brian works out back there. He has his weights and stuff. We store our mower and stuff in there, our fencing supplies. It really needs to be cleaned up, but it is what it is for now. And then over here, I actually made it into a place. We stored or kept our goats in here when she was really close to being due, and she actually had her babies in here. I made this out of pallets, and it's not super stable, but it got the job done. And then we made this milking stanchion, and this is where I milk every morning now. So this is the view of our barn. As you come up our property, we have lots of fencing material that I salvaged from somebody else's fence. So it's not in the best shape, but it will do the job for when we need some extra fencing. So like this right here, this cattle kennel, I want to use it for my garden to grow things vertically. So we got to get that out. And then we are taking our animals. We took the goats up here last year, but we need to get them back up here because this is growing super fast. This is why I'm saying we don't have enough animals to keep up with everything. So we're gonna take the goats back up this way. So this is our H-brace that we put together to connect electric to this side of the barn. So we have our electric hookup down there, and then we ran a cable under the ground to hook this one up. And then I forgot to tell my dad that it was underground, and so when he was scraping up the manure to help us spread it out for the garden, he dug up the line and it tore it. So I don't know if it's salvageable or not. I haven't even looked into it yet because we don't have anything on this side, but that's another thing on my to-do list. But we're doing this so that we can run fencing all the way up our drive. So up our drive is super long, but up our drive we have some grassy areas kind of like this, but a lot of it is wooded. So we need to kind of keep this down and then gradually make our way into the woods, start clearing some trees, just enough to have silvopasture and be able to keep animals fed and cooled down when it's super hot in the summer. Okay, so our property goes all the way up to that tree line there, and in the middle there is just a big pit. So it's like rocky, perfect for goats, not for cows. So we really need to get the goats in there. But then this is ours as well, all these trees. Like I said, it'll be great once we get some of them cleared out and we can have some grass grown in there. But right now, it's just a little too hard. Whew, I'm out of breath from climbing up that hill. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this homestead tour. And I just wanted to keep it real. Like, it's not super clean. It's not like something that's like romantic yet or anything. It takes time and patience to build a homestead, to build the beauty. And I was watching somebody's Instagram the other day, and their garden was just absolutely beautiful. And I just put in the comments section, how long did it take you to get it to this way? And she said, I mean, they're still working on it, but it's been 15 years to get it to where it was at the time. And so I think a lot of times we see other people's stuff that they've been working on for years and we haven't really seen the work, and we expect ours to look like that really quickly, and it's not going to do that. So if you are busy working on your homestead and trying to make it look good and get all the things done and adding animals and adding gardens and trying to cut down trees and all that stuff, especially if it was never a homestead to begin with, then just remember that it takes time, and don't always look, I mean, it's fun to dream, it's fun to be excited about things that you want to do on your homestead, but don't always look at all the stuff that you have to do, but occasionally look back and see all the stuff that you have done and how far you've come. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section below, where are you at in your homestead journey? If you are a homesteader, maybe you aspire to be one, maybe you've been one for 20 years and you're like, you know, you understand what I'm talking about. So I would love to know that. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. It really helps support this channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.